Hi everyone, my name is Lamarana. Welcome to the Halat Africa show. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe, share and click on the notification button. It is yet another very exciting day, and today I want to talk to you about how to empower the youths, how to create more employment in the Gambia and across Africa. And today the subject that we're going to look at is going to be SMEs. Thank you very much. I hope you did enjoy that short intro. And like I said, alluded to earlier, we're going to talk about SMEs, which is small and medium-sized enterprises. This is a very important sector for every country, especially for developing countries like the Gambia and many other countries in Africa. If we want to salvage the high unemployment rate in the continent, we have to invest in SMEs. If we want to make sure that the youths are gainfully employed, we have to invest in SMEs. And this sector, it is very important for the development of the Gambia and that of the entire African continent. Some of the advantages of SMEs are business creation, to create entrepreneurship for majority of the population. It is also a platform wherein you can create employment for the population. It is also a platform where you train job seekers and job creators as to how to go about creating jobs or looking for better opportunities. And it is also a platform wherein the youths are encouraged to engage in innovation. We know that our problem in the Gambia and that of Africa in general is that we are not taught in the school system to be job creators. We are taught to be job seekers. So therefore, when a country has a very strong SME or small or medium-sized enterprises, this allows for the people to be engaged in entrepreneurship or job creation itself. And under this topic, I want to look at two players here. And the first one is going to be the government and that of also the private sector. I think these two players are very important in making sure that a country have a very viable medium and small size scale enterprises. On the part of the government, what we need is for the government to formulate policies to make sure that the environment is conducive for SMEs to thrive. And one way of doing that is making sure that there is a development bank for the country, because when a development bank is there, the population have access to loans or microfinance assistance. You will find out that most of our youths in the Gambia and across Africa who graduate from school, they cannot be employed by the government or by the private sector, or even some of them who want to engage in their own enterprise could access some of these loans from this development bank set up by the government. The other thing that the government can also do is to make sure that private financiers in the country are giving tax breaks if they invest or help in promoting the SMEs in the country. Even creating this development bank, what the government can also do is to give loans to startups, because we find out that for the most part You have the youths who have the ideas, but to access these funds becomes a very big problem. And where these funds are inaccessible, it means that particular individual cannot achieve his or her dream. Also, I think in the case of the Gambia, we have GIPA. Or government can set up, a system wherein the youths will compete. They could, write business proposals, and anybody who qualifies could be giving, free loans to, start their businesses. This will encourage entrepreneurship in the country, and if, this becomes a successful endeavor, you will find out that within a very short period, we will have a lot of people who will get, employed in the country, and as a result, that will help in reducing unemployment in the country. But also, the other important aspect is the government also should come in, to help the population to access loans with very little stringent requirements, because we find out that for the most part in Africa or in the Gambia, for somebody to access loans from the private sector is very difficult, because the collateral that is required is usually impossible for somebody to fulfill or to meet. So therefore, many youths are discouraged from taking part in setting up small businesses. But aside from the role of the government, I think the private sector also is very important, and we believe that it is the private sector that brings in development to any country, and therefore it is important for us to look at the role of banks and other private lenders in the Gambia and across Africa. One thing I think that the private sector can do, or the private banks can do, is to make sure that when they are giving loans, loans are given without stringent collateral requirements, like I mentioned earlier, because this is something which is very, very important. And also, the private banks should make sure that the interest rates that they levy upon loans that are given to people to start businesses should be very low. For example, in the Gambia, up until 2018, the private banks were charging interest at the rate of 28%, which I believe is insane, is almost impossible for somebody to take a loan and be able to pay on time. And this is why we found out that for the most part, people who take loans from the bank do default at the end of the day. And I think one of the reasons for this in the Gambia then was because for the most part, the government was taking loans from private banks to run their day-to-day affairs. So the private banks, they don't find the need to lend to individuals, citizens, because if the government is taking money from the private banks, there is no way that the government will default. But with the advent of this new government, we have seen that the government is no more taking loans from the private banks. So therefore, now the banks have decided to bring the interest that they charge on the loans down. But still, this is not enough. I think that if the interest charge on loans is less than 6%, this is going to encourage a lot of our youths to engage in small and medium sized enterprises. They can take loans and then build up businesses, which in turn will create more employment for the youth in the country, because currently the unemployment rate in the Gambia is between 30 to 35%, which I think is something commendable. But if we can bring down the unemployment rate to a single digit, I think that will be very important for the entire economy. Because when you look at bigger countries, more advanced countries like the United States of America, you will find out that about 48% of the workforce is hired by SMEs. You go to countries like Canada, it's about 71%. You look at Germany, I mean, it is more than that. So the backbone of every economy is that of SMEs. So it is important for us to invest in this area. By investing in this area, we are helping the youths of the Gambia, the youths of Africa to develop, because we have to understand that business and commerce is the order of the day. Because at the end of the day, people go to school. After finishing school, they expect to either be gainfully employed or to be self-employed. And either of these cannot be achieved if, one, the government or there are no private sector that is employing graduates or graduates, and they are also not able to access funds to start up businesses. So I think in this area, if the government can do a very good job in trying to help the country move forward, investing in SMEs is the best form of investment for developing countries, because you will find out that the youth population of Africa itself is between 60 to 65%. The Gambia in particular, we're talking about 65 to 70% of the entire population are youths. And I've seen that if the youths are empowered, definitely we will be able to have a very strong economy. We'll have a vibrant economic system that will cater for the needs and the aspiration of the Gambian people. Because at the end of the day, what is important is how many people can we lift out of poverty. And if you look at the age group that is highly affected are the youths. And we cannot talk about African development without making sure that the youths are gainfully employed. They are doing something, because entrepreneurship is the way forward. Because myself, I would want to be an entrepreneur rather than working for somebody. And this is something where we see Africa is lacking behind. The developed countries are doing everything possible, and we cannot achieve this development SMEs without having infrastructural development in the areas of technology and construction, but especially technology, because business is shifting to online now, and this is where we can empower our youths to make sure that they are gainfully employed. And thank you very much. If you're new to this channel, once again, please subscribe, share, and click on the notification button. I am very happy for your support, and I will seize this opportunity to thank each and every one of you. Peace out.